Now back to dry land. From being a bold experiment to becoming one of the best outdoor places in the world, Glenmore Lodge leads the way in all things outdoors. Now the Adventure Show has joined forces with the folk from the lodge to give you the lowdown from Scotland's outdoor centre. Between finishing summer courses and gearing up for the winter, the lodge plays host to the world's premier wilderness first aid course. And as we discovered, it's not for the faint-hearted.
The course really brings together a whole bunch of people from all over the world. Doctors, surgeons, people who specialise in wilderness trauma and wilderness medical problems. The whole emphasis of this week is to take people's medical knowledge to a higher level than first aid. And then wherever they will be in the world, apply the principles of that knowledge to the situations and their surroundings that they may be in, whether it's at high altitude, in a hot desert or a jungle or on the ocean somewhere.
Like, how slippery is it?
It's slippery. You can get access around
the left side.
The students are going to be going through a number of evening scenarios, really difficult problems or medical problems or trauma problems that's going on with the patients, and that's really the big main objective.
How you doing?
Just keep it off my leg!
No bother, Kirsty.
Get it off my leg! I'm not much of an actor, but as the years have gone by, I'll shout, and if they hurt me, I'll hit them back, and I'll kick, and I'll squeal, and we'll make it as real as possible.
Don't worry, Kirsty.
Dr. Rebecca Lindley is an expert in wilderness first aid. She makes a long journey to Scotland each year to be part of the training faculty.
Where I work at home in Canada is a very small place. We're about 2.5 hours from a big hospital, 2.5 hours from any kind of surgery, and so we often do wilderness emergency care, even in our own little A&E. We have no lab services, no x-ray, etc. And then we also work with the ski patrol on one of the local mountains, and we work with search and rescue team as well. Usually when you're on the hill, you're kind of involved with anywhere between 5 and 8 incidents in a day, and we're only called to the more serious ones, so yeah, it can be quite busy.
Yeah, don't ever leave your bag. Don't ever get separated from your bag.
This is as realistic as possible. So if there's blood on the patient from an injury, you'll see blood. You can cut their pant legs open, you can strap, you can do everything exactly as you would do. They get in there and they almost forget that this is not a real patient. And you see that on their faces sometimes, and you see the panic when something starts to happen. And that's good, because that's part of that mental rehearsal. If they felt the panic in the scenario, then they'll have experienced that previously. They work through the panic. That means they'll work through the panic when it comes in a real situation.
I'm a GP working in Dunoon in Argyll, but really trying to do it in the outside environment is really completely different, a whole new set of problems, as well as all your environmental factors, just simple things like trying to get people's clothes off to examine them properly, take a good look, and trying to get people moved from wherever they've had their accident to a convenient place when they're not just sort of laid out in front of you on a bed. It suddenly becomes virtually impossible if you don't really know what you're doing, and that's been an amazing help doing this course.
Simon, what age are you, Simon? 30. 30? Not too far off the same age as me, Simon. Okay, so we're going to help you.
My scenario was as a biker, came over the handlebars, and I injured my elbow with an open wound on the elbow, and also injury on my chest as well. The chest injury was quite a big internal injury, and the aim for this was to see if they would pick up on the injury and, of course, my level of consciousness by dropping it as we went along.
Oh, don't worry, we'll get you out of here soon, and you hang in there, all right? Get you well looked after.
It's quite emotional for us, because we started at that point really empathising with our casualty, and we're very acutely aware that the decisions we're making will affect their final outcome. And after a couple of minutes, you forget that it's role play and it's a real person with real thoughts and feelings.
Do we have any pain relief for this?
Yes, I can get you some pain relief. What would you like? There's stuff with breath sounds.
And you get really quite stressed, the blood pressure's going up, the pulse is racing, and you want to do the best for them. So it is actually really quite dynamic, and tempers get a little bit raised, and people have different ideas of how it ought to be done. So it is quite intense.
We don't have enough O2 to last until evacuation unless we turn it down to about 6 now.
Yes.
Okay?
Definitely.
You happy with that
Yes.
decision? Okay, fine. O2 down to 6.
6 beats per minute.
That's it, yeah, correct.
The response we get from students at the end of the week is generally one of relief because we hope they all pass. And not all students will pass this week, but we hope they will. Whilst we're here for 7 days in this beautiful part of the world in the Cairngorms and at Glenmore Lodge, we've got to apply every ounce of our energy in there to try and get our experience over to these people. So they'll be exhausted, and so will the faculty.
And if you're involved in medicine in the outdoors, you can find out more about upgrading your skills from the Wilderness Emergency Medical Services Institute. Simply log on to www.WEMSI-Europe.org. And we'll be back at Glenmore Lodge in the next adventure show.